What we call the angel can also be defined as the higher self, the spirit guide, the future self. An angel is an agent of God, if you want to call God the source of everything. Again, it's your choice how to call these different perspectives, but the angel is the agent of God. So it can take a form, and you can certainly perceive your angel as a completely separate entity from you, much greater, much more expanded. But at the same time, in order to understand the angel, you have at least to fuse, to merge with the angel a little bit, to feel like a part of that angel. Or if you really expand yourself, to feel like your angel. So a good way to nurture this relationship with your angel, and you may call it your higher self, your future self, your spirit guide. A good way is to find in your past a painful memory. If you can, a memory that comes from a remote past. So you were a child and you went through some experience, and that experience was traumatic. There is a pain that is still resonating there. So visiting that memory and making it more clear, just as if you are traveling. So it's not just remembering, but with the practice, it can be like if you're traveling back into the past, watching that memory, feeling that emotion, but also being able to detach from it and to observe it from a distance. And from there, you can become the angel of that little child. You can actually give love and support and understanding to that little child that you were. You can send energy from the future and become, in that moment in the past, your own angel. And you may think of this like a practice of imagination, a way to resolve past traumatic memory in your psychology, in your psyche. It's your choice how to experience this. Personally, I like to experience it as a true journey into the past, as a way to actually change the past. And I like to feel the presence of that angel that is coming from the future, as if I'm again in the past, living that experience, but it's now a different past. In that past, there is an angel coming to help me. And so from that past, a new potential future sprouts, and it becomes my new future. So I like to see this as a physical experience of going into the past and creating a new timeline. And that timeline becomes my new present, my new future. So a way to change the present by changing the past. Again, it can work even if you just think that this is all imagination, that this is just, a way to manage your brain. It will work because it's a powerful practice. It will probably work more and more quickly if you see it as a real physical experience, because then there will be a magical component that will really trigger your psyche into creating a powerful movement of change. But you shouldn't force this. You can really experience this just as imagination for starters, if that's your choice. But again, the basic idea is sooner or later to realize that the so-called angel, this agent of God, is you. Maybe you can see it as a future you, a you that exists 1,000,000 years from now, or even more. And it's so incredibly wise and powerful and loving that can travel in the past, as it's now traveling into the past to your present, just as you have done with your little memory when you were a child. This also can happen in your present, whenever you feel the presence of a spirit guide, of an angel, whenever you choose to feel that experience and that presence. Maybe that's a future you coming to you, walking through time, because he or she exists in a different dimension, a dimension where time exists in a very different way, a dimension where you can walk into time, going into the past and going into the future, just like your physical body walks in the physical space. And so this future self can be the same thing as the higher self, the spirit guide. And this doesn't have to be in contradiction with the fact that sometimes you can feel a spirit guide and you really feel that guide as separate from you. It's an entity that has a name, a quality, and you can talk and converse with this entity, and it appears to be completely separate from you. This is fine, but just realize that whatever you feel separate from you, even if it's physically another person, at some level, you are the same thing. You are made of the same matter, of the same energy. You're just different configuration. And so, in terms of the higher self, of the angel, of the spirit guide, you may feel stronger this connection, because it's easier to move through that substance that is not perceived as physical, and to understand that there is a continuous interconnection and oneness with everything. It's a little bit harder in physical reality, but in the energetic realm of the psyche, it's easier, certainly easier, to feel that you are at least part of that force, of that agent that you can call the angel. And you can also become completely that agent and that angel, and completely fuse and merge with that entity. And that's bliss. That's the experience of bliss. That's a way to describe an ecstatic experience. Thank you. Sat Nam.